For almost 3 weeks now, I've been enjoying the Valerion VisionMaster Pro2 for my casual movie watching experience. I'm someone who primarily watches physical media. It arguably has the greatest visual and audio renderings currently on any home format. I've always strived to have the best viewing method I can afford at the time, but until recently, it's always been in the form of a TV. Thanks to Valerion, I've been able to finally experience what it's like to have a projection system in my home theater. I recently did a video, which I will link in the comments section, going over the Pro 2, the specs, what it can do, and my initial impressions. Since then, I've been putting the Pro 2 through its paces and watching a wide variety of movies, all the while making some personal adjustments that I feel have made my experience all the better. I watch films on Blu-ray and 4K, which has SDR, HDR, and of course Dolby Vision content, and the Pro 2 handles these with ease. Out of the box, with no additional tweaks, there are preset modes, which in all honesty, you can just set up and enjoy whatever your personal taste and ambient lighting conditions are. For my viewing, I only watch movies in a light-controlled, very dark room, and I found theater mode to be my preferred setting for SDR content. Diving deeper into the settings section, I keep laser luminance at level 10 for all three modes, and EBL or enhanced black levels at high dynamic contrast. Contrast itself I level at 40 and black level at 0. I tried dark detail off and on, and I prefer the look of the off setting, but that may change as I tweak settings further down the line. Gamma is at 2.2, I like how it looks that way, and active contrast is medium and brightness enhancer is turned off. Color I have set to 50 and hue 0. For SDR content, I prefer the color temperature warm 1, but a case can be made for warm 2 as well. Color space I have set to auto and dynamic color enhancer is off. Under clarity, I have sharpness set at 2. I don't like to keep it too high here, but I can see some wanting to tweak out a little bit higher than what I have it for. Smooth gradient is on low, super resolution off, noise reduction off in both cases, and motion enhancement to custom. Now I typically set motion enhancement to film, but for this video I wanted to show what you could use alternatively with judder reduction at 1 and blur reduction at 5. Now for the calibration settings, I would recommend that you don't mess with these particular values unless you are well versed and familiar with these options. For HDR content, I'm pretty happy with filmmaker mode, which I would leave more or less as is when it comes to settings, but for an alternative, HDR theater mode is also a good option. As I stated before, laser luminance is always at 10 and enhanced black level at high dynamic contrast. The contrast setting I keep at 45, I think that's the perfect level for HDR content in a dark room. Black level at -8. I find if you go too much lower, you run the risk of clipping out blacks, and anything higher seems to wash them out. Both active contrast and brightness enhancer are in the off position, and dynamic tone mapping is on with HDMI dynamic range at auto. Dark detail is off, just a preference, and gamma is at ST2084. For color, I've been going between 45 and 50, and I'm not really sure what I will ultimately settle on, but either of those factors look good. Hue is once again to 0, color temperature warm 1, color, space, auto, and dynamic color enhancer are off. Sharpness in HDR theater I have at 0, but anything up to 7 looks acceptable to me. Smooth gradient is low, and super resolution, noise reduction, and MPEG noise reduction are set to off. As you see here, motion enhancement I have set to custom, but I actually prefer film for HDR theater. I think it has smoother transition, especially when the on-screen camera moves left to right or vice versa. Just as before, I recommend leaving the calibration settings alone, but I will include what I have in the comments if you want to give them a try for yourself. Now, what I found surprising, since as of this recording there isn't a Dolby Vision filmmaker mode, which very well could be added in a future software update, I found Dolby Vision Bright to be the most natural and visually pleasing of the Dolby Vision settings with the Pro 2. Dolby Vision Custom is also an acceptable option, but I like the visual punch that Dolby Vision Bright just adds a little bit more to the picture. As the first few settings are the same on HDR and SDR content modes, I won't go over them for Dolby Vision Bright, so I will start with contrast, which I have at 51. Black level is at -6, and as I said before, I think going further starts to introduce anomalies and crush, dark detail is off, and gamma is 2.2. Active contrast and brightness enhancer are both set off, and HDMI dynamic range is preset to the auto position. Color set at the default 50 setting, for me I think really works, and of course hue is at 0. For Dolby Vision Bright, I found that warm 2 is the best option, and color space set to native and dynamic color enhancer off. Sharpness is set to 0, but you can tweak it a few digits if you feel so inclined. Smooth gradient low, and super resolution, noise reduction, and MPEG noise reduction are off. Motion enhancement for this is set at film, but of course you can go with custom if you so choose. Dolby Vision Bright is the only setting I have not fiddled with the calibration settings for color, white balance, etc. as of yet. I plan to get the Pro 2 professionally calibrated sometime in the future, and I recommend you do try some of the settings out. But of course, feel free to make any personal necessary adjustments on your own to see what looks really good to your eye. As far as what I've watched so far, I wanted to show a wide gamut of films to see a variety of genres working using a projector and a 110-inch screen. I started things off with one of my favorite films in the last few years, Godzilla Minus One. A big screen deserves a big movie, and to my eyes, it looked fantastic. The film was just the thing to not only show how well the Pro 2 can handle digitally shot movies, but highlights such as the blue spikes the Big G uses and his atomic breath. The blue glow is wonderfully vibrant here. I next jumped into a comedy, American Pie 2, which I was doing a 4K review for on my channel. I watched the film initially on my LG G4 77-inch OLED, and then watched it again using the Pro 2. For me personally, the size of the screen for this early 2000s comedy was a bit of an overkill, but the projector handled the image admirably. It just then occurred to me that watching movies like this one might be better served on a smaller screen, reserving the big stuff on the Pro 2 for more cinematic fare. Old school cinema was next up, and you don't get much grander in scale and scope than David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia. For those that appreciate film grain, it's nicely preserved on the disc, and the Pro 2 replicates the theater-like experience very well. The movie looked fantastic from start to finish, and for those that appreciate older movies shot on film, you'll be pleased that Valerian's projector makes a great showing here. The opening sequence to Star Wars A New Hope really shows this classic in a whole new light when viewing through the use of a projector. It honestly took me back to when I was a kid and saw this when it was released in theaters. I felt nostalgia, genuine nostalgia, when viewing it on this setup. I've seen the movie dozens of times over the years, mostly on a TV, but here it was different and I really appreciated that. I did a double feature, Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, two great epic sci-fi films. And although separated by decades, each one was impressively rendered using the Pro 2. The films sourced original and the digitally shot follow-up, and they both looked excellent in their own right. I've always been impressed with the aesthetic within this world, and with the ability to watch it on a large theater-type screen, it takes the viewing experience to a new level. While I'm preparing for this video, I'm also simultaneously working on 4K reviews, which are the prominent content featured on my channel. I thought I would show off a few scenes from Lethal Weapon and the new Jurassic Park 4K. Lethal Weapon is a movie from the late 80s, and on the disc, they did a really good job with the transfer, and it's one of the better ones I've seen in 2025. The day scenes look amazing on my OLED, and color reproduction really pops, and the same could easily be said for how the Pro 2 handles a picture, and overall it retains its film-like appearance, but gives you that nice HDR flourish. Next up, the new Jurassic Park 4K, which I will be comparing with the 4K disc from 2018. You can see the improvements on the transfer for this new version over the old one, and with the size of the screen also being a factor, the Pro 2 highlights the good and the not so good of this latest disc. In addition to the movies I featured already in this video, which would make excellent demonstration titles to see what the Pro 2 can do, I would also like to add a few others. The first being John Wick Chapter 4, or quite frankly any John Wick film, as they all look very clean and colorful within the world that the characters live in. The Dragonfire shotgun scene in Chapter 4 is one of my favorite audio demonstrations, but visually it also looks really solid. Next, since I am a huge fan of giant monster movies and kaiju, Pacific Rim is one that shows not only huge amounts of color and vibrancy, but if you have a big projection screen, enormity of the creatures is next level and perfect to show off using the Pro 2. And don't forget, the Pro 2 handles 3D, so if you have a 3D Blu-ray disc of this film, you are in for a treat. I recently added Akira Kurosawa's Throne of Blood on 4K from BFI, and it's simply a stunning presentation. A nice layer of film grain, and the black and white picture looks excellent, and the Pro 2 handles these types of films very well. And if you want to challenge the projector's dark levels a little bit, then fire up Ridley Scott's original Alien. I gotta say, I was actually impressed with how the black levels looked on this one, and I think you'll agree once you pop it in for yourself. It seems, at least for the time being, my viewing of physical media and content with streaming will be with the Pro 2. My OLED isn't going anywhere. In fact, it is what I will still continue to watch the new 4K discs on as I review them for the channel. As I mentioned in my first video, the OLED still handles black levels exceptionally well, though the Pro 2 is not too far behind. So after giving the Valerion VisionMaster Pro 2 consistent use in my home theater for almost 3 weeks, I can honestly say I am pretty impressed with the overall results. The picture is often remarkable and handles nearly every aspect beautifully. If you were just looking to get into the projector game, the cost of the Pro 2 makes it an excellent entry point, and you get the quality to go along with it. Whether you watch physical media, streaming movies, or even HDR content on YouTube, it's such a good visual experience, and one that I think even the most modern home theater enthusiast will appreciate if they want to get into the projector space. If you are interested in checking out the Pro 2 for yourself, I will leave direct links in the comments section below. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.